What's up guys, it's Razzle back with another Conan Exiles guide. Today we are talking about settings, macros, and INI files. I went ahead and did a fresh install of Conan onto my computer to be able to walk through everything with you and make sure we do not miss a step. So this is my first time loading up the game on my fresh install, and you can see I'm not even in full screen. Pretty lost looking around and completely naked to the game without my settings I'm used to. The first thing I will show you is how to load up the game completely skipping the intro movie. This is going to be useful for you. Even if you don't want to use the INI file, it's just a great quality of life change that will help you save time and frustration from trying to exit the pesky opening cinematic. Let's get started. So starting off, to get rid of our intro movie, we're going to go to our Steam homepage, right click on Conan Exiles, go to Manage, Browse Local Files, ConanSandbox, Config, and Default Game. If you scroll down a bit, you're going to see this here, Script, Movie Player, Movie Player Settings, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go to the front of all these lines after the line with the bracket, and we're going to add in semicolons. So we're going to put one there, there, here, and here. Once we do that, we're going to hit File, Save. We can just close that out. We don't need that anymore. When you go to load up Conan again, you will never have to watch the intro movie. Next, I will show you the difference between no INI and using a custom INI. Most people use an INI from Dogs of the Desert, which is great. However, the view distance on it is set to low. If you use the one I'm showing here, it is set to max view distance, so you can see all the way across Brim Lake, for example. I'm going to show you how to easily go back and forth between your PvP INI and then the default game INI. In case you kind of want to, be more immersed and chill out a bit, you want the default INI, of course, go for it. The PvP INI is going to help a lot when you're doing more of that competitive PvP, or you're going to be raiding, stuff like that. You might want to switch over to the PvP INI because it's going to make it so, you have further view distance. You can see at night. There's lots of benefits to it, other than the fact that your game looks a little bit more like Minecraft than it did before. But anyways, while we're looking at the Steam home screen, we're going to right click on Conan Exiles, go to Manage, Browse Local Files, ConanSandbox, Saved, Config, Windows No Editor. We're going to find our engine here. Before we get into it, we're going to right click on it, show more options, and we are going to create, create shortcut. So now that we did that, we're going to take the shortcut and just put it on our home screen. So that way it's easy to get to. We don't have to go through what we just did to get to it. Now we can just click on this and it will bring up our engine. So when I click on this, this is the default game INI. I'm going to save this just so I have something to go back to in case I don't want to use the PvP INI at a certain time. So I'm going to highlight everything and hit Control C. I'm going to make a new note in my notepad and paste it with Control V. Now that we did that, I'm going to save as my desktop, and I'm going to name it. I have a few different things on the screen right now. That's just because I've obviously done this before, but I'm doing it again just to show you how to do it properly. So I'm going to name this the default Conan INI. Save. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I have PvP INI already saved on my desktop, but just for your sake, this will be copy and pasted below. You want to copy and paste this into a notepad. So I'm going to Control A and then Control C. Control A will select all, and then Control C will copy all. I'm going to make a new notepad, Control V, Now we have the PvP INI saved in its own file. So I'm going to save as onto my desktop, and it's going to be PvP Conan INI. Save. Perfect. So I'm going to close out of all these just to make it easier for us. All right. So now at this point, you have 3 new things on your desktop. You have the engine shortcut, so that way we don't have to go through, right-clicking on this and go to the local files and stuff like that. We have the default INI, which is just our save point in case we don't feel like using the PvP INIs. And then we have the actual PvP INI. So what we're going to do with these now is if I open this, I can go ahead and delete it. So now there's no INI in my Conan folder at all. I'm going to open my PvP INI, Control All, copy, and then paste it into my engine INI. Now if I file save, and I go to open Conan, it's going to have my INI enabled. If you don't want to use the INI, you repeat the same process. So I'm going to close out my extra notepad. So we're going back to the default now. So all I'm going to do is Control All. I'm going to hit backspace to delete all that. And then now I'm going to click on my default Conan INI file. I'm going to select all, Control A, copy, Control C, and paste it, Control V. File, save. Now I can enter Conan using the default INI that comes with the game. That's pretty much it. Now I will show you how to set up a really useful macro that I use pretty much every day. I have a Razer keyboard, so I'm using the Razer Synapse software. If you have a Corsair, Logitech, or any other brand with the software download, you can do this exact same thing with similar steps. So right now, I opened the app, selected my keyboard, clicked on the button I want to assign the macro to, and selected mouse function. Make sure it's set to left click, and then you can choose how many times you want your mouse to press per second. The reason I put it on 10 and not just max it out is sometimes maxing it out can make your game crash, so I usually play it better safe than sorry. The first example I'm using this macro in is me buying glass flasks from the vendor in SEP with silver coins. I have 3,000 silver coins in my inventory, and it would take me forever to click purchase and get all my flasks. Instead, I'm just holding down my assign key and it's clicking the button 10 times per second. Another useful way you can use this macro is dropping items in your inventory quick. Instead of spamming spacebar or clicking the drop button in your inventory, you can just hover over the drop button and hold down the function key. This also works for any items you may have in your inventory, and if you're quick enough, you can even use it during PvP. If you go to pick up someone's kit and it turns out they're over encumbered and now you got people chasing you, you can scroll over the drop key and hold down the function, and it will drop all your items really quickly. Another way I like to utilize this macro is if I'm trying to take down a base that I don't need or taking down a fob. You just hover your cursor over where you want to delete, hold the keybind down, and let your hammer do all the work. I'll show you how to create a command in Conan. It's kind of like making an in-game macro, but you want to hit escape, go to settings, controls, and then commands. The box on the left is going to be used as your macro button that you're going to assign to the command, and the box on the right is going to be the command that you type into the box. Here I'm using the pull bracelet command for a nice quality of life touch. I use this when I'm summoning my corpse in the summoning circle to avoid needing to open the menu and click remove bracelet. So originally I was going to go through all the settings and break it down one by one for you, but really a lot of this stuff is self-explanatory, like, why you should use windowed mode and turn off VSync, stuff like that, graphics quality. Most of this stuff is your personal discretion, so I'm just going to kind of hammer in on like the main ones that you really should look out for. First thing I'll start with is turn off motion blur. It's just turn it off. Next up, the FOV. This is super important. It might be a little weird at first, you might need to get used to it, but I couldn't imagine PvPing and playing my game like this. Max out your FOV. There's some people that even go through the INI settings themselves and up this, but at least max it to the end game, what it allows you to, for sure. Camera shake, a lot of people don't like playing with this. I keep it on unless I'm bombing because I just like knowing, you know, if I'm in the base AFK and a bomb goes off and whatever, I see my screen shake, it's there, but most of the time it's off for me. But to show you what that looks like, it's not super dramatic, but if you're the one that's actually bombing, it can be pretty annoying. Controller style movement. You always want to have this on. Again, this could be something that's kind of hard to get used to, like the FOV, but being able to use the controller style movement, it is really instantly going to make you a better PvPer overnight. I recommend turning it on, play around with it a little bit, get used to it, and it's just going to make you better overall. Auto face forward on attack is another important one to keep off. If you have it on, it's going to make you always attack forward. A great example I can give of this is, let's say someone's Q-lock dagger spamming you. If you're, hitting your button, you're always going to hit forward. But if they're going around you and, just lunging at you, you can kind of predict their attacks and hit them based off of what button you're pressing. So A, B, W, S, etc. A few things I like to just head on to. A lot of people keep these on, but it's really not necessary. I think it makes your screen look a lot cleaner. The contextual controls and the journey steps. Those are the controls you see in the bottom right hand of my screen right now, and the journey steps at the top right. If you're doing journeys, then by all means, yeah, keep that up so you can, have something to follow, but a lot of the times if you're just playing the game, you're not doing journeys, so I turn that off just because it looks cleaner, and then I don't need the controls to tell me, hold sprint, left shift to sprint. It's really just unnecessary clutter on your screen. The buffs are another good thing to look at. Make sure you have yours large enough where you can actually see. You can see in the left hand of my screen, when I pop my feast, it shows me regenerating and sated. You can make those bigger or smaller depending on how you prefer. Bar values is another good one. Having this checked off shows your health and stamina. So you can see at the top left, I have 209 health, 105 stam. So I think that's important to see. I like to see exactly how much I have. A good little tip here is you can actually assign a hotbar item. You can assign 2 different items on the hotbar to one keybind. So I have my feasts and teas on shortcut 6 and 7 under the same thumb mouse button, and then you can assign a second keybind to it, so that way you can hit that individually. So if I hit my bottom mouse button, I eat both the feast and tea at the same time. Let's say I have, I don't know, a tool on my bottom button, and I want to just drink a tea. I have my second keybind able to allow me just to drink the tea. Something to point out under the movement category, I like to change my dive key to something else, because if it's set as the same thing as exit climbing, sometimes you could be, trying to get off the wall from climbing, and then all of a sudden you're nose diving off the cliff. So to avoid that, you can change that button here with Z. Something I will note is this is also your dive key while you're in the water, so keep that in mind. Toggle auto align object to terrain. This is an important keybind. This is default R, but if you didn't know, let's say I have a bomb here. And I want to place it on this slope. If I go to place it, it won't let me. But if you hit R, it will automatically try to toggle onto the terrain that you're selecting. Your map is another important keybind. M is default. I use M in most of my games for a map, and it's easy for me to hit with my thumb, so I keep that, but that's another one to adjust if you don't prefer it. Player list is another very common key that I hit. You can just hit L and it opens your player list. A lot of people hit escape and then go to server and then player list. That's a lot of extra steps for no reason. Just hit L or assign it to a different key that you would like. to be able to see who's online. Toggle first and third person camera. You can use P to go in and out, and then vanity camera V to look behind you. So P is basically this. It's pretty important because a lot of times you need to go to play something, and it's a lot easier to do in first person, especially if you're a bomber. The vanity camera, it's really nice. Let's say someone's chasing you down, you're running away from them. You hit V, you can see behind you without having to turn your camera around. Well, that is pretty much it. This concludes my settings, macro, and INI files guide. I hope the information I provided was helpful. If you watched up until the end, huge shout out to you. Please smash the like button, drop a sub if you found anything in this guide helpful, and want to stay up to date on my tips and tricks. I tend to release a video about once or twice a week. Other than that, any questions you have, drop in the comment section below. Thanks so much. Peace.